Greetings! It is I, Balonius Francine Marconi, and this is my iPhone channel on Spreaker and Stitcher and iTunes and your mom. Oh, wait, sorry. Very unprofessional. I just wanted to come on and say thank you guys so much for following me on Spreaker and listening to all my podcasts. It's really cool to do something on the internet and see that people are liking it. So if you are listening, hit the like button on the Spreaker, and if you like what you hear on iTunes and you're listening there, give me a positive review. I've got so many podcasts that are available, and I've just recently been added, a few of my podcasts, to iHeartRadio. So it's really cool that you can now hear me on so many different places. And I'm excited because Pants Free Podcast is on iHeartRadio, and as well as News Channel News. So those will be back in full production with regular updates as soon as possible. We did a recent Pants Free Podcast, and it's on my Spreaker channel. I don't really know now because there's a partnership with Spreaker and iHeartRadio that's kind of got some weird constrictions, and I don't really understand them yet fully. But I think that iHeartRadio's partnership, if your podcast is approved, you may have had some discontinuation of iTunes feeds and stuff like that. I'm not really a fan of those restrictions, but the other thing about iHeartRadio is I noticed that on there, my Pants Free Podcast, they haven't published a new episode that I did Wednesday. So there's some restrictions, so I guess the best place to hear me and all my podcast is on Spreaker, which is where you've listened all along anyway. So thank you for checking it out and following me, and please spread the word. If you like a podcast or something like that, post it to your Facebook page or Twitter or whatever social media you use on your blog, anywhere that you feel people will check it out. So I appreciate that very much, and thank you for listening. And I just wanted to say that. I'm very excited. My new podcast with my girlfriend, Me Plus Cake, will be out next week. We just kind of talk about relationship stuff, so it'll be kind of interesting to hear all the different perspectives. And of course, I'm going to continue my Pants Free Podcast, and I'm working on a podcast with my Uncle Jack. So by working on, I mean every time I see him, I go, "We should do a podcast." And he's like, "Fire it up!" He's a real character, and I think you guys will like him. So that's going to be one that's in the works. And of course, News Channel News will continue telling you odd stories. But thank you if you're listening, because you were directed here from iHeartRadio. I am such a fan of the fact that I'm being exposed on so many platforms on the internets. And I hope that you guys will check out my blog for all the various things and links and stuff like that. If you like me and you listen to me from a radio show, or if you know me from Portland or wherever you know me from, if it's just Spreaker, then cool. Tell me in the comments. I always like to hear that. Like if you are listening and you know me from radio, if you know me from Spreaker, or maybe you just used to listen to me a long time ago. I don't know. But there's so many different audiences that I have now that it's hard to keep them all straight. So I do appreciate it, though. I really do this guy for you guys. And every time I do a podcast, I think, is this going to be something everybody's going to want to hear? And I do my best to give you a high-quality, sort of a semi-professional delivery, blah, blah, blah. And I want it to be entertaining. That's the basics of it all, right? So I hope you'll listen to all my podcasts and be more involved. I mean, that's really all I ever look for, is the fact that I do these podcasts and I see listeners and I see it growing. And then I'm like, hey, well, I want these guys to, comment and say, hey, I love that. Or, let me know what your favorite part of the podcast was and do more of this. And, I always look for your input because that's what it's all about. And I like interacting with you. And if you have comments, I will definitely read them in podcasts coming up. And maybe eventually we'll do a comments podcast. I'm going to be doing more on YouTube. So, I bounce between YouTube and Spreaker and, of course, my radio show. So I have a lot of fun, and that's what this is all about. So if you're into having fun and you have a podcast you think I should listen to, let me know. Put the link in the comments. I'd love to see what you do and listen to you too. So I will interact with you just like you interact with me. So, yeah. And if you don't have a podcast, seriously, it's really simple. Put, if you already have a Spreaker account because you're following me, just put the app on your phone, and you can do what I'm doing right now. You don't have to have a fancy studio or a microphone or anything like that. You can just talk to me from your phone. In fact, I always like when you make comments, maybe just make a comments podcast where you're commenting on my podcast and then leave the link in the comments. Does that make sense? If you do a Spreaker comment or a question you have for me of any kind on Spreaker, and add that into my comments in these podcast comments, and I will do my best to answer you. So we'll see how it all goes. I'm so happy, and every day that I look on my Spreaker account and see more and more people following me, I'm really excited about it. And if you tell me, if you message me, I will follow you back. That's kind of my policy. Sometimes I see people that I know and I follow them automatically. But if you're on Spreaker and you're not making podcasts, I kind of just let you do the following, only because I feel like when you follow someone, the reason is to see their content. It's not like Twitter or Facebook. You know what I mean? Like Facebook, you friend someone because that's how Facebook works. But on Spreaker, if someone's making great podcasts and I want that in my feed, I will definitely put you in there. So if you message me in my comments to follow you, absolutely. I think Spreaker is a great platform, and I love the fact that it feels like a community, and there's a lot of great people on here. Some of you from radio, some of you just listen to podcasts, and you just found me because you're on Spreaker. Whatever the reason, I appreciate it so much, and thanks for all the listens. And just if you like something, give it on Spreaker you give it a heart. Maybe that's part of the iHeartRadio partnership. I don't know. But thank you. I just wanted to say hi, and more produced podcast coming up. I think you're going to like the Me Plus Cake podcast. If you listen to this week's Pants Free podcast, it's called Waffle Taco. That's an example of some of the stuff you might be hearing as my girlfriend filled in for Nick, who was sick and on the road. So I think she's great on the podcast. I might be a little biased, but it's a fun thing to do a podcast with my girlfriend, especially because she doesn't suck at it. So sometimes you get partnered in life with someone, and maybe they're not really suited for the kind of things that you like doing, and that's okay. But my girlfriend just happens to be good at talking. So it's kind of fun, and it's fun to give her a tough time when we're doing a podcast together and stuff. So I think it'll be fun, and I hope you guys like it. It's going to be Me Plus Cake. You can even check out the little teaser we did. It's called Coming Soon on the Me Plus Cake. If you go into my collections or whatever. I don't know. How do you listen to Spreaker? Like, what are your favorite podcasts? I'd like to know. Tell me in the comments. Maybe you have one that you think I should check out. Okay? So let me know. Thank you guys for being awesome. And I hope that, I guess it's Friday and when I'm recording this. So if you're listening to it live or close to after I've published it, I hope you have a great weekend. And if not, I'm sorry that you missed this glorious live event as it was taking place on the internets. But if you like what you hear, let me know. It always encourages me to do more ridiculousness. And check me out on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Tumblr, YouTube, all those places. You can find all the links to my world of internets and Twitters and Facebooks at marconibaloney.com. You guys are the best. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon.